I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Um, I was gonna get ready to step down anyway. That was really weird. That was crazy, but it is what it is. It's to be expected. We talk about it all the time. Let's not have cognitive dissonance. Let's not just talk about it. You know what we're talking about is true, right? Y'all know it's real, right? Only reason I come back up is because I don't like giving someone that much power over my life, but they do have power in this space because this space was not created to benefit us, meaning I can be reprimanded here on TikTok for that happening. You know what I'm saying? Like that TikTok will actually put a whole strike against my account and it leads to me getting permanently taken down. So I know that it's more important that I continue to be able to have this platform than to just feel righteous when somebody's coming in doing that. Um, that was just pure hate. You know what I'm saying? That's pure hate. I tell you, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone that considers themselves pro black going into spaces and doing what that man just did. Yeah. So that's hatred. That's what we talking about.
That's a perfect example. We were talking about this earlier. Can y'all tap up, y'all? Let's tap up. Let's tap up. We were talking about this earlier. It's crazy how they don't see or understand racism, especially in that room that Swan be pinging me in. Because that's the dangers of we us thinking we have the same even ideology as them, because we don't take
Mm,
time to go into create a fake page and go in their spaces and troll them, and they do this
yeah.
all the time. And it speaks a lot, like I said, to moralist beings. You have to be a moralist being to go to places and mess with people that are not harming you. And we have not only the historical but the present day context to show that y'all literally target people that don't have to do nothing to y'all.
Right.
But y'all tap up, y'all. Come on, let's go. Let's start this off right, brother. Let's do a refresh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be here for long, but yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I was
Well,
getting
let's
ready to
get
hop
it
down
popping.
anyway.
All right, we're gonna get it popping since you came back though.
Hmm.
Woo! Gumbo. We going home, y'all. We going to Africa. Holy Spirit, activate, activate, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. All right, you guys, we have officially landed the plane. We are in Brother Legends Live. Excuse me, sir, at the top, I need you to mute up, please, and thank you. You are in Brother Legends Live. I need you guys to tap that screen. Tap, tap, tap. We need to get to 10K immediately. Tap that screen. Share the live and share it with your friends, your frenemies, include your damn enemies. But share the live, you guys. Make sure y'all tune in and turn up in the Discord with B1 Initiative. And make sure that you tune up and subscribe to Brother Legends Live here on TikTok and on YouTube. But in the meantime, in between time, tap that screen, gift your host, and don't forget to send the pause when we got problems.
Absolutely appreciate you, D.
Can I say something
Um,
real
yeah,
quick?
go ahead to you.
I just before y'all get too far past what D just said, because she also invited me to that room this morning, and I
Hmm.
think what we just witnessed is the perfect example of what we were talking about in that room, and why people seem to not be able to understand that Black people cannot be racist, because that person knows how these apps work. That it's very different when Black people say and do things that pale in comparison to what that person just did, but you the person who will get your account snatched for it, not
Right.
that person.
You know
And
that.
that is the example of racism. That is why when you say something that might hurt one of their feelings, that does nothing. That impacts nothing. It doesn't impact your platform. It doesn't impact your day other than your fragile feelings, your hurt feelings. Like, but the opposite of that is real tangible effects. That affects your money, that affects your platform, that affects your brand, that affects all of that stuff. That is the perfect example of why we cannot be racist. That's all I
Right.
wanted to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. His hatred has power over my platform. Because TikTok cannot tell the difference between, racism and it just sees words. So, but that was racism. That was racist as hell. It is what it is. We still back because we don't give anyone that much power over us. For those of y'all that missed it, someone came in here and had some select um, rapper words for us. he was trying to quote some hip hop artist that he might have heard say that. I don't know where he heard that. Maybe his grandmother, maybe his mother. But yeah, if you can guess what two words I'm talking about, you can figure it out. And so I'll go to the guest that I was going to before we got taken out. Moving on, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
48, black, he, him.
I thought that was you at first when he first started talking. And I was like,
Nah,
yeah,
nah, not at
yeah.
all.
But go ahead, talk to us.
First and foremost, thank you for allowing me to join the discussion. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question, should black culture be shared with non-black people? I guess my question to that would be, for what purpose, right? Like, are we sharing it because we really want them to know and understand what we go through as a community, or are we just sharing to say y'all can get in on this, right? Because if it's the first, if we're saying we want you, because me personally, I believe the best way, like if I go over to the Philippines, right, the best way for me to get to know those people is to know their culture. So for me, if we're saying, okay, we're gonna share this with you because we want you to understand what we go through in this country. We want you to understand what we've been through since we've been here on this soil. We want you to understand that, so you can, you know what I mean. So if that's the purpose, then I'm okay with it. But if it's just to be like, you can come to the cookout, nah, we don't need
No.
to do that. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? So I guess that's where I am with that. And for the second question, does hip hop benefit the black community? I think we have to go back to culture again and understand that hip hop itself is a culture. Right? It's not just rap music. Hip hop is a culture. Rap is a subculture of hip hop. So we don't even have to talk about the Jay-Z's and the Kanye's and whoever else that got into hip hop and made it. I think we can look at the people that we don't know, the people that we've never heard of, that were saved or that were benefited by hip hop, whether they were an MC, a DJ, a b-boy, a graffiti artist. Maybe they took that and they branched out into something else. Maybe they were a graffiti artist and they branched into the arts, or they were a DJ and maybe they didn't get big, but they still helped out the community. Maybe they do parties and back to school, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they did something like that. People we never heard of. Forget about Jay-Z and these other. There are people, men and women in our community, that have been saved by hip hop, and we never know who they are because hip hop took them from whatever ills they were facing in their communities directly. They went to hip hop, and hip hop saved them from that. Um, I don't know if we should expect much from the Jay-Z's or some of these rappers that have really, the Rick Rosses and all that, because they are in a system where their main motive, their main agenda is the bag. The bag is what's motivating them, right? And so, as an artist, as an MC, as a rapper, or whatever, you have to come to a crossroad. Because I saw an interview. It was an old clip, but it was when Leor Cohen was on Hot 97, and they were talking about Leor Cohen and how Leor Cohen was manipulating and exploiting our community through hip hop. And my thing is, at some point it comes down to the artist. You have to come to a crossroad. Where do you want to be? And in my opinion, neither choice is wrong. Do you want to make positive music that you think will affect our community in a positive way? Or do you just want the bag? If you just want the bag, cool, but just know you're going to have to align yourself with somebody like Leroy Cohen to get the bag. You want the radio, you want Hot 97, you want the BT Awards, you want the Maybach, okay, you got to go to Leroy for that. It's 2023. If you want to be an artist and make good, positive music, you don't need somebody like Leroy Cohen for that. You really don't. We got, who was, and I hate to use him as an example, but he's one that pops into my head, Soldier Boy, right? He got famous off just when it was just YouTube. He got famous off of YouTube by himself. It's 2023. If you just want to make positive music and let people hear your music and try to affect in a positive way, you don't need a label exec. You don't need a major label to do that. But if your main goal is to get the bag, then yeah, you got to go out there and you got to swim with the sharks. It's what it is. You're not going to be, you can't have both because the system's not set up for you to have both. You can't be out here and be, with the exception of maybe a J. Cole, maybe a Kendrick, you can't really be fully immersed in the mainstream and be positive to the community. I don't believe you can do that. You can't do both. You got to choose one.
I want to say one thing to you because me and my brother have been like scrapping about this for almost 5 years. And it's really important. I think Black people need to wake up to is when Black people say that, I guess you said hip hop is its own culture, right? Did you say, how did you say it? I want to make sure I'm saying it the way you said it.
I said hip hop itself is a culture.
So hip hop
is a subculture of hip hop.
And this is the dangers of that. Because when someone called out, I'm not even gonna say who the artist was, but they were not Black. And someone called them out about using the N-word, they said it's part of the culture. It's the hip hop culture. And you see, we are so ingrained in this culture of what it is from us that when we separate it and we allow everybody to participate in it, now I'm no longer disrespecting you. I'm using that culture. And that culture also means that I get to talk bad about Black women. I get to use this over-sexualization of Black women, and I get to weaponize Black men against each other. It's a dynamic in which we're opening a space where everyone gets to use us as a tool against each other or shame and disrespect our community, but have no respect for it because we've made that a culture on its own away from Black people while it literally is the face of Black people. Does that make sense?
It does. I will counter by saying I feel like when it comes to certain content, right? Let's just go to the radio. I'll just stick with the radio.
We don't control none of that, though. You got to remember, when you're saying that it's a culture and it's its own entity, when a YT boy start rapping and he's using that hip hop culture and he's using those words and everything from that culture, you got to remember, you don't have no control of that, and I don't have no control of that, and nobody looks like us is over there putting those records out. And when we do get vocal and say something, we still don't shut nothing down. They still making their money off of it.
I believe we do control it, and here's how I believe we control it. And again, I'm going to go stick with the radio for right now. So the lifeblood of any radio station is advertising dollars, right? Advertisers pay lots of money to have their spots played on the radio. That's what drives a radio station is advertising dollars. If whenever we heard a YT boy or anybody disrespecting Black women, disrespecting Black people as a whole, if we said, you know what, we're not having that, and you turn that radio off, they will notice. They have people that pay attention and say, okay, somebody's going to go to that program director and say, why aren't people listening when this song is played?
Has that already happened? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Do you know Eminem?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the song where he talks about Black bees, the gold diggers?
I haven't, honestly. I know Eminem. I don't really listen to Eminem that much.
He's a white man. He's very well known. Mm-hmm. Has a whole song calling Black women gold digging bees.
True, but we can control that part on the radio. We don't have to listen to that. We can simply turn our radio off, and they will notice that. But we want that, right? When you look, man, let's keep it funky. I think Luther Campbell is out there pushing Sexy Red. Luther Campbell ain't no Jew. That's a Black man out there. Got Sexy Red out there barefoot and pregnant on stage singing her bullshit ass songs. That ain't Leroy Cohen. That's Luther Campbell, right? So we can control that though. We can at least on the radio side. I believe we can. We
What
can we
is
can
That
because
person that you just mentioned is only taking part in a system that is inherently anti-black. So, during the institution of slavery, for example, there were black slave owners.
mhm.
They did treat our enslaved ancestors better. Some of them, but they would put us in charge of us, even in the field. So um, you can't point to them and say that the buck stops there. The fact of the matter is, anti-blackness is profitable. So whether a black person decides to be anti-black or a white person decides to be anti-black, making caricatures and minstrel shows out of black people is the name of the game.
Well, so then now I think we go to your set of standards and principles, right? What do you stand on, right? So if I went to again, I'm going to use Leroy Cohen as an example. I go to Leroy Cohen, and I give him my EP, and every song on there is a song of black love, black positivity, loving black women, loving black community. And Leroy says, "Nah, I don't want that. I want that gangster shit. I want you to push this, that, and the third." Now it's on me. I can say, you know what? All right, Leroy, I can do that, and I can write some shit like that and get it to Leroy. He can put it on the radio, or I can say, you know what? Nah, Leroy, I'm cool. I ain't doing that, and I'm gonna go over here and still do my music. Just do my music without you. That's on
But
the artist. You
moving
don't
on,
have nobody's forcing these dudes to make this music. They're doing it because the system says if you make this music, you can get the bag, you can get the fame and the money. And if that's what you want to do, fine, but just know you're selling your soul to the devil. You don't have to do that. Nobody's making you do that. You're choosing to do that.
But see, that's the thing. Those that are desperate usually make it to the top because you're saying they don't have to do that, but a lot of them feel like they've given up on having any other choice. A lot of them do things that people with no choice do before they make it to the music industry. So they only care about money, and the problem again is not their fault for participating. It's that the communities they come from have been starved of resources intentionally, and that same system turns around and makes their own artistic, projections of their own demise profitable. So
And that's
that's
why I
a
say neither choice is necessarily wrong, right? In that sense, because I do understand that some of these dudes they trying to make it out. They trying to get to where they got to go, and somebody put a record deal in front of them and say, "Here you go. Here's $1 million advance. Make this music and put it out there." I get that. I understand that. I'm just saying. So I guess we got to go a little bit deeper again. Go back to your standards and your principles. What do you stand on, right? Do you stand on I want to build up my community, or do you stand on I want to get the bag? And either way you go, it's fine. Just know one side you got to sell your soul. You got to. If you want to get that money, you want to bet you got to sell your soul to do that. You can't do it no other way. And so again, it goes back to where do you stand at? What the young boy say? Stand on business or King T.I. or whatever. Where you stand at? Where are your principles? Where are your standards? That's what I'm saying. No,
you can
neither
have
is
standards, you'll
wrong.
be broke, no one will hear from you.
Yeah.
right.
And
Can you
so
live with that?
I'm not saying that, but that's a choice everyone can make. Right now the phones that we're using are created. Oh, the lithium in them comes from people that look just like us digging holes in the ground, children in the Congo. So does that mean none of us should have phones? You see what I'm saying? Or are we unwilling participants in a system that oppresses us? So that's what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, the buck stops at the man, not at the artist.
I
And
feel. I'm
and
sorry. Go ahead.
them doing it, I know they have a choice, but we all have a choice then, and so that's why I do feel like I would hold them accountable for their anti-blackness, but usually these guys don't know no better. I'm telling you, a lot of them can't even read a contract. Can't even read.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
serious. They can't even read. Like, they can't read a fortune from a fortune cookie. They can't read. Like, I've met quite a few artists today. They cannot read. You'd be surprised.
So
So yeah.
here's where I would say then that you need to have a a a, a great, not a great, you really need to understand hip hop culture. This is where we go back to hip hop culture, because I believe if you take care of the culture will take care of you. Now, taking care of you might mean that, yeah, you might get some, you might be doing some shows you getting paid for at some little hole in the wall joints, but you're still getting paid. You're not out there in front of media. You're not out there at the award shows. You're not getting that. But the culture will take care of you, and the culture really don't care what your background, none of that is. You could be a 60-year-old white male man. If you can spit, if you can get in them tables and do your thing on them tables, you can pop and lock at 60, or be a graffiti artist, the culture will take care of you. But you have to understand that. Look at KRS-One, right? KRS-One is in his 50s. That man got 25 albums because he took
So
care of the
black people
culture.
created a culture. Black people created a culture so that everyone else could come in and make money off of it and benefit from it. And they can still use slurs and other words that are in your black community to affect you and make money off of it. We're playing a game of semantics when we talk about the actual power and who sits in place. So you gonna tell me it's okay to watch a YT man put some damn locks in his head, or dreads, better yet, because go put some dreads in his head and start rapping something he probably ain't. Oh, I'm from the hood. This is what it is. Da 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 da. He done picked up a few pieces. These black da 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 da, and these N words, this N words that, and oh, it's the culture of hip hop. So now we're okay with it because see, we didn't create a culture, even though we not even at the top getting paid for the disrespect that we're receiving to our community. That's
Well,
the
no,
problem with us as a people. We're okay with everybody putting our dress on and then them going and getting in front of the show and walking down the damn runway and getting paid millions to do so, while we sit in the background and go, well, I mean, that was my dress. Like, what are
so
we doing?
let's
Right.
let's
I think
understand this.
the other thing that
Listen,
you're missing though, moving on, is the fact that the question asks, how does hip hop benefit the black community? What you are speaking on is us having it, right, authentically, just authentic to us. You're talking about the quality of music. You're not talking about how that quality of music is going to actually benefit the black community.
what's your
I
what's your
feel like
definition of benefit the community?
multiple people have come up here to speak on that, and they miss that part. And this, I don't want this to come off negatively, but that's something that we have to start thinking about. Like that is literally something that we have to start thinking about, right? Like prioritizing our progression. It's interesting that so many people missed that part. We're talking about moving around in a system that doesn't benefit us when we need to step outside that system and prioritize ourselves.
So
I
benefit
think
the community in what way? In what way what way are we expecting or wanting hip hop to benefit our community? Because there are different ways it could benefit it. So what ways are we expecting hip hop to benefit our community?
Amos Wilson's The Blueprint for Black Power. That's one way.
I'm
Um,
sorry, my daughter's speaking to me. Say that again one more time, please.
Amos Wilson, Dr. Amos Wilson,
Mhm.
wrote a book called Blueprint for Black Power.
Okay.
That's one start. Malcolm X's Organization of Afro American Unity speech. That's another start. Um, you know, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who was an advocate of hip hop until Ice Cube chickened out on him, which is kind of funny because he called Ice Cube out in one of his lectures. It's hilarious. But what did he say? He said Ice Cube melted on me.
Yep.
But yeah, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, the I guess you could say, well, he was a friend of Farrakhan, and he would have been the next Malcolm if some things didn't happen. But anyway, Yeah, you know, there's a
You
few
say that this
objectives
is the thing
on the
for him again,
agenda.
brother? You
What?
named some stuff earlier. The hospitals, the schools, like giving him a more
Oh
clear
yeah, yeah.
picture.
The five institutions. Yeah, absolutely. You know, hospitals, school, grocery stores. You know, aka supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a bank, distribution center. You know, a way to actually build our own wealth instead of um going to Leor Cohen to ask for wealth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know these are all things that are actually beneficial. It just take a little bit of money, a little bit of somebody that got some money to give a damn, and all of these artists know better than to give a damn. So you know, I just think it's interesting. You talk about how hip hop benefits the black community. You know, I don't see any benefit. Are we in much better place than we were when it began? I don't think
Well,
so.
yeah, I would say no, and I would also, I think D was speaking on other people coming into hip hop and taking it over. I mean, I think that shit sailed a long time ago. I mean, that's, that happened because honestly, in the early days of hip hop in the '70s, it
Hmm.
wasn't like that, right? Hip hop was our own thing, and when the mainstream came to hip hop was like, nah, we don't want your mainstream. You can take that over here. We're gonna do our thing right here. We don't want that, right? But then when the record companies came in, and one dude specifically, Curtis Blow, blew up and got
Hmm.
paid. Then when Curtis got on, I can't remember the record label he got on with, but when Curtis got on, then other people started to get on. And then, when someone comes to you and says, I'll give you, again, I'm talking like early '80s, I'll give you $25,000 right now to do the same thing you've been doing for years for free, of course you're going to take the money, right? You're going to
Mm.
take it.
Now that hip hop was not doing things for free. Hip hop started in the neighborhoods. They were in talent shows, and the talent shows we paid to get to the doors. And those shows used to pay the artists. It might not was the money that they wanted, but hip hop ain't never been free. I've been listening to hip hop since I was a kid. And when you go to those talent shows, which started actually in the schools, they started in the schools and in the communities. So every person that's up there now in hip hop came by the way of the lower class people. It was the black folks that sat there and listened and said, "Oh wow, listen to him. He sound good." They'll throw a
Mm.
party. They come to the parties. You get to that door, there's always been house parties and coin parties since the beginning of time. You want to go to one of them parties or you want to go to one of those talent shows to see those people, you had to get tickets or you had to buy and pay at the door. But the problem is hip hop ain't never benefit the community because once they get up, they don't come back down there and open like he say grocery stores. They don't come back down.
Where you at? Hello?
Um,
They
Baby
call
King?
that point.
No, and I agree. She's right, and they don't come back. Um, so I guess another question that just popped into my head is should we still keep expecting them to? Right? They haven't done it by now.
Man, who expecting them to?
No. I'm
You know,
not.
they can
I'm
do that.
asking. I'm
It
asking.
benefits the
Should that
community.
even be a question anymore? Right? Like if they haven't done it by now, are they ever going to do it? Who's going to do it?
No, that's the thing about it. When it comes down and boil down to it, my ideology is to boycott them, leave them to themselves. I didn't even hear artists during the time when hip hop was out. Well, such and such listen to our music, or these people listen to our music. They don't even really consider your dollars even important like they used to. That's why I don't see why most black folks are even still buying into any of those ideologies anymore, because it's not benefiting you at all.
Well, the
You like
biggest
still the
consumers not
totem
even
pool
us.
of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If we as a people stop uh, going to these concerts and everything, and start doing back things the old way. Not saying real old, but I'm just saying start teaching kids. You know what I'm saying? To put their energy into something different. But hip hop and music and a lot of this stuff have even changed what we were as a people. Like they go down for the gutter and for to get us for these things. Well, we were great inventors at one point. Now they equate a black person wealth to music. They equate our wealth to Oprah Winfrey, a talk show. They equate who we are as black men and women to things that are really just gestures, things of entertainment. They don't talk about figures who owns a cell phone company. They don't talk about I can't think of this black guy who made the optic wires for internet possible. You know what I'm saying? They don't talk about the gentleman in Ferguson who's taking air and making water machines. They're not talking about that. They're not even equating who we are as a people. And because we looking over there, putting money into that, when we could be putting money into that machine that that man has built that has created water in Ferguson, which they went over there and tried to tear that up. We're not even putting money into the things that we need and into things that will help our community. But we are always arguing the facts. Hey, facts, the educational system sucks. Facts, they medical institution sucks. Facts, they businesses institution sucks. You know what I'm saying? We always complain about it. But when it come down to the black dollar, which we are putting in over what $1 trillion into retails and into all this dead weight. Don't you know those dollars can be put into building the youth so the youth don't have to go to the street for drug sales? They don't have to go out here and do the things they do. That our dead dollars go to frivolous things when we once tried to build our community, when we was creating stores. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a community where the fish market was black owned. Held a pharmacy. I ain't seen the black pharmacy on a black pharmacy in quite some time since I was a little girl growing up. That grocery store, I haven't seen the grocery store owned by a black person in a very long time. I haven't even seen the gas station. Yes, a gas station was even black owned. I haven't seen it in a while. And yet we sit up here and we will get on the thing and we argue and we debate the facts about these gestures out here entertaining our thoughts, entertaining everything, and what they giving you back. What, entertainment? We can do that ourselves. We can create rhetorical throwdowns in our communities where our children can learn how to debate on how to make our community better again. We can create spaces and places where we're teaching the young men some type of trade. So when they grow up, they'll have something. They took that out of the high schools. Where was hip hop then? Did nobody fight for to keep it in the schools? So hip hop to me have not benefit the community in no way possible. None. They haven't did it in a long time. It's a clip. It's matter of fact, it's a whole thing. It's T.I., Candace Owens and a couple of people on stage, and they were talking about the black community. And I don't remember which one I'm saying. They was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get down there and get some of that money too," because you don't even realize that even though you at the bottom, you keeping everybody afloat because everybody is in your community making money. The Arabs is there, the Chinese is there, the Philippines are there. You know what I'm saying? You have the Jews there. When they come over here to this country, they working for less than what you is, but they know where to go get the money at. You're not stopping and say, hey, you can't come to this community. In my days, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I tell it on a live, when they first started to come into our communities, they used to torch their stores. And I'm not gonna lie to you. We used to see their stores literally burn down when they used to first try to integrate in a black community where there were black people there first with their stores. When those black first, when them people left, that's when they start to come. Now you seeing these doctors that is a foreign entities. I went to a dentist where it was a black dentist. I went to
Mm.
black doctors. But if they're not in our communities and they're not putting in our communities, like I say, people in the communities where you at, if you start hitting these stores and say, hey, if you want to do business in our community, you got to give a certain percentage to this community.
Mm.
You got to put money into our schools. It's the same for the churches. This religion institution. Hey, it's about 30 churches going down blocks and blocks and blocks. And yet you tying into church. No, the church should be tying into the community.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. But until you like up here where I'm at, when they open up Targets, when they want to open up and start building anything, you know what they do? They go around and put notices on gates and on houses and say, hey, they finna build a new hotel. And they give these people in this community first dibs on any jobs. Even though I don't think the job market is, but it's just the fact. In order to open up in these communities, and I'm in a mixed community, you have to guess what? You have to offer the jobs to the people in the community first. Because this community, they stick together. They have the meetings and they do what they got to do. And everybody always say we can't do it. Yes, you can. Go find the money. When you go and start looking into your aldermans, into these folks that's in your community that's supposed to be representing your state, you got a right to get them up out of there through vote if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Every school, like in here where I'm at in Chicago, every school, things that's happening in Chicago, schools get $2 million. Public schools get an extra $2 million from the federal government to put towards making something better in the communities. And yet, people don't know about it. That's why that man took all that money and built that stadium out in Mississippi. That was because he was getting $2 million from each educational institution that was within that county. And that's how he built that field.
Into my Brett Favre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's money that probably went to the public schools. And that's how he taken it. He took money from the public schools.
Like
They get that money to do things in the community.
Well,
But
I would just
ain't
like.
doing
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean, I would just. I would hope we would come
Kill
to a
ain't had a
place
chance to
where
go. I mean, Chili.
we could feel like hip hop can benefit us, and I don't know.
The only
I
way
mean, I don't.
that hip hop is going to benefit us is if we are the owners. We are the people at the top. Y'all are
Mhm.
okay with everybody getting paid and you getting crumbs for your talents. And even what's even worse is we're looking at 70% of the population is what is fueling your people music. Like we looking at a dynamic of 13% of the population saying we're not gonna play a part anymore. We don't have to play a part anymore, y'all. That's why the music is getting played that disrespects us. That's why a Sexy Red exists. That's why Sukiyana exists. That's why our Cardi weird ass B exists. Because they is people outside of our community. It's the 70% that is pushing that forward. Because everyone's okay with black women being degraded. But in the same breath, we're sitting here and we're having a conversation about hip hop being something. If you ain't at the top and controlling what is being influenced to your kids and your community, and also making the money that your community needs and that they're making for these YT people, what are we talking about? If we're not talking about being the CEOs and the owners, we just talking.
And,
So
and
it's a whole play out here, and we 450 shit. We 500 years behind, because even the dynamic of marriage is in this room gets conflated with BS. We sitting here dealing with brothers and sisters that rather choose other people outside themselves that would rather benefit off of them than to pair in the most basic ways to pull families together. And we think we can make we can change the dynamic of hip hop. How? When everybody out here talking about a dollar, they're not talking about family, they're not talking about friends, they're not talking about community, they're not talking about building. It's so many key things that Baby C said that it's like, okay, this is genuinely how black people move. And no, Cloud, don't say that because you be in the room with some stupid people. I'm just gonna call that out right now. You are the detriment of black community. Everybody that be in that room with you is a detriment to Black people, because it's so sad to see young Black people be so ignorant about racism, oppression, and literally the way this system is set up to benefit everybody but Black people. And y'all, Baby C said it. We upholding the whole thing. They making the money off of us and still keeping a foot on our neck. It's wild.
Yeah,
I mean, no,
You
no,
know,
no clout is that
is
person
boycott.
that
Nah,
live
he
y'all
not
be
the
going
main
to.
one. He just be over there in their room.
Oh, okay.
the interesting thing that hasn't really been touched
Boycotted.
in this too is that a lot of these artists and people, and even way more throughout like the maybe some part of the 80s and a lot of the 90s artists, a lot of them don't got no money. So you did all of that for what? Even a lot of these artists now, it's the appearance of money. You've been given a loan
Oh
to
yeah,
look
they
like
broke.
you got something. Yeah, a
They
lot of
broke.
these
I know
people
it.
are broke. So
They
you
broke.
sold your soul to only not have nothing at the end of it. A lot of the, and I hate to be like the pessimist of the room, but for a lot of this is Pandora's box is already open. You can't put it back in. Like you,
Nope.
if even if you go back to like how that sister was talking, like the roots of like, oh, you can do the shows and all that other kind of stuff. How are you going to attract people who feel like their only way out of their socioeconomic position is sports and music? Because that's what a lot of our community feels like. The only way for them to escape their circumstances is through athletics and music. And that's the only thing they're willing to focus on. It's the only thing they're willing to focus on. And so even if you bring hip hop back to those roots, that's not going to be appealing to them because there's no money in that. Even if you were to crowdfund a prize for, a rap battle or something like that, that's not going to be as attractive as the next person who gets signed to Bad Boy or Interscope or whatever the label is, who's going to get signed a check, or who gets invited to the BET Awards or whatever award show it is that gets some exposure and that gets clout. People want the bag. And the thing is, people want the bag at the expense of not only themselves personally, but their communities. And this conversation really only applies to people who are pro-Black, because the pro-Black person will say that I won't take this opportunity because it's going to be at the detriment of those around me. The person who
Yeah.
is looking out for themselves, who is individualistic, is going to say, they might care about their community, but not more than they care about themselves. Not more than they care about digging their own self and their own family, their own mama out of their hardship, because they want to buy their mama a house, or they want to pay off the car, or they want to make sure they no longer have food insecurity. They ain't worried about y'all. And then by the time they get to the level of a Diddy or a Jay-Z or whoever else, they've already been compromised. Because like the brother said earlier, in order for you to get to that point, you got to sell your soul. So you can't turn back around and build the hospital and build the K through 12 school. You can do a little bit of them things. They allow you a little rope, but not too much rope, because they got papers on you. They got receipts on you, and you do too much, they're gonna expose you. You do too much, they're gonna throw you under the bus and let heads roll. So you got to stay compliant and in place, and that's the problem with being bought and paid for, because somebody else owns you. And that's why what D said is so important, because we don't have the ownership. You don't own the label, and you also don't own the consumerism. We are not the biggest consumers of hip hop. So even if you back out the deal as a supporter, you say, I'm going to turn off the radio, I'm not going to buy no albums, it doesn't matter, because white people doing it.
That's why we can't cancel Doja Cat.
Exactly. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
but the
because
thing about it is you don't
they're the
have to
ones that are
partake in
carrying
it.
everything. They're bankrolling the entire situation. All they need you for is to shuck and jive and show them what's cool next. That's what they need you for. And they're not gonna pay you to do it.
And that's
You
well, that's
should
part of.
watch this thing called branding. It's called ethos, and that's the thing about it. Black people actually think they don't when they do. The poorest people in the world keep the richest people in the world rich, and the thing about it is most people think you are not when you truly are. White folks might do that, but you know what white folks not doing? White folks are not buying hip hop brands. You might be going to their concerts, but you are not bound to two things that they hold dearest. Now, what people don't know
I
is
think you're a little far behind.
Well, look at it.
White
It's
folks
called
buy hip
ethos.
hop
Do you
brands more
know?
than we do now. White folks buy hip
Well,
hop
they
brands
do,
now
but
more than we do.
go check again. Go check
Things have
again.
changed a little bit since the '90s. I remember in the '90s. I remember
Not the
when we
'90s.
were.
I'm telling you what's today. I know
I'm listen. I'm
people.
telling you, in the
I
2000s, I remember you used to have to go to what was the name of that place? We all against all odds. Y'all remember against all odds?
look. I guarantee you, I see it every year. I see people blow an income tax 10 bands. Do you understand me? I watch thousands of us spend bands
Mhm.
and be broke in a week. They go and they buy all that materialistic, all of it. And some people yearly salaries ain't no more than 40 or 50,000. Some of them not even 40 or 50,000. Some of them 20. But I watched them. I'm not gonna even lie to you. When them stimulus checks came out, look at social media. I want you to just watch social media sometimes doing income tax. You know what I'm saying? They even got a saying for them. Okay, here come all the broke folks out. They come out doing income taxes and they show you how much they splurge. You know what I'm saying? I know people who get checks for $16,000 and be broke in a week. And you
Mhm.
know what they get on social media with? Brands, Jordans and Bugatti, big chains and all this other stuff. This is what they flossing after. Gucci, exactly. And you will see it.
Hold on. Wait, I'm
People don't
confused.
know. People don't know that gym shoes, LeBron James, they go for the PlayStations, they buy the NFL, all that stuff. Artists and NFL, NBA stars, they getting money off of that. They
But they're
making
not
money
even,
off of
but it's
those
okay. So
things.
even in that, they're not making the real money. I think that's the problem that is being missed in this conversation. We don't own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we talk about, let's say you said LeBron James, he's getting a cut. And it ain't even the big cut. Like it's the dynamics in which we're having these conversations. And we know that a lot of black people, especially black people in poverty, they have a financial literacy issue. We know that the issue is bigger than just saying, look at them splurge, look at them go. Because I think maybe I look at things in layers, but in reality, to me, I'm seeing the effects of impoverishment where you finally get something, you going and get things you yearn for that whole year. But I'm not saying it's okay. It's a pure level of ignorance and no understanding of financial literacy. I saw exactly what you're talking about, but I think in these conversations, it has a lot to do with what Tia was pointing out. We don't understand the dynamics of the power. And even to what brother's saying about the benefit of it to black community. I don't care if LeBron James, Michael Jordan, shit, even with Shaq, I don't care whose name is on it. What are they doing or bringing back? Nothing.
Mhm.
Well,
We're not seeing nothing. We're not,
I agree.
and I'm sorry, somebody can tell me they made it. People are telling me Beyonce made donations and she has charities. That's amazing. Build something where your people can say, we own this. This is a black owned hospital. This is
Those
a
are
black
tax
owned
write-offs.
school.
Those are tax
Mhm.
write-offs.
They
Whoever.
are
Mhm.
clear.
That's
Yes,
fact.
Tia. Getting that money right back, or you're writing off what you already had to spend that year. So you lavish yourself, and now you got to make that difference up. And because I get my ass cut in two every year, so I will write down every new piece of equipment I've bought. But it's always interesting the dynamic that we sit here in these conversations because we all know that black people have a financial literacy issue. We know that, no questions, no doubt. We know that the system is literally being dominated and ran by YT people. And then what makes it worse is we have ignorant black people that think they have an equivalency to white people and they don't even have no power. Can't list you one place that black people own.
Hmm.
Mm. I think with, and even though we don't, part of the
Yo, I
problem.
gotta go.
Okay, just one quick point.
Justin.
Go
One thing
ahead.
I will say real quick is that one problem is that we even though we don't own anything, we have at least had a seat at the table and still haven't done anything with it. Diddy with Bad Boy, Jay Z with
They have no
Rockefeller, and all
seat at
that.
the table. They wouldn't even let him sell Michael Kors. Michael Kors got him in a room to try to get his clothing line launched, and they would not even let him in the room. You talking about Diddy like he the highest, right? If you the highest black man, you got the most. They wouldn't even let them buy a freaking team on the NFL. What we talking about? They told us that
Somebody,
the
I
play.
think
What
Dr.
they said the
Umar,
slaves don't own no team.
yeah,
We looking at the dynamic backwards, because if you think just because somebody's saying you can sit at the table when they wouldn't even let you walk through the door to get to the table, we all confused in this conversation.
I just
Yes.
want to add to that real quick because I know Chili needs a turn to go, but we got to stop talking about like working within a system that doesn't care how much money we make. This system does not care how much money we make. It doesn't. We have to stop talking about trying to build within a system that doesn't care about how much money we make. We have to. We got to look further than that. We have to look beyond that. We cannot continue trying to figure out how to move in a system that doesn't benefit us in any way, shape, or form. Because all of those successful people are still black at the end of the day. They're still black people at the end of the day.
Yeah. I ain't gonna hold you. Thank you, Brother Legend, for allowing
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all.
me to
Appreciate
appreciate it.
y'all.
All right, man. Y'all
And
take care. Be safe.
Absolutely.
And I ain't mad at nobody. I just like to go back and
the
vote.
sisters on here,
It's all good, D. Y'all be safe tonight.
All
you
right,
too.
one
I'm
love.
gonna follow
Hey,
you,
Chili,
ladies.
you didn't say much. If you can you come join us tomorrow night? I hate to leave people hanging. You've
Oh
been
no,
up here
you're
the whole
fine. No,
time.
nah, you good. I was just listening, but yeah, I can definitely come on tomorrow
She
night. I
gonna
was just
listen to
Appreciate
this
you. Yeah,
tomorrow.
we'll be back tomorrow.
yo, that's totally fine. Yeah,
I'll put the
that sounds
topic back
perfect.
up.
Yeah,
Absolutely. All right,
thank you.
y'all. I'm gonna close out.
Let's go. So
Um,
you know the routine. You got something else you gonna say
hmm
before I say it?
yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna post the replay of tonight on my YouTube. Check it out. The button is on my profile. Um, the link to help the Congo keeps getting taken down, y'all. I'm being real with y'all right now. I put that link up 3 times, and for some reason, Give Gain, the website that the is for donations, it keeps getting taken down. So I don't know if someone knows another website like Given Game. I don't know if y'all know the website Given Game. It's like Given, Given, Gain, Gain. If you know a website like that, DM me where we can post a link. For some reason, keeps getting taken down. I don't know why. But anyway,
That's really
if you want to join the Discord, b1initiative.org. That link is still up. And after we close out, there's going to be a bell icon right in the center of your screen. Tap that to know when we're going live next. Go ahead, D.
all right. And guess what, you guys? We appreciate you stopping in. We are officially landing the plane. All right, you guys, you've got on to Brother Legend flight and taking off. So we've landed and we no longer need you passengers on it. So get the hell off. But you know what I always tell you? If you're not black, I need you to hop in that tub before you hop in black business.
Absolutely. Peace, y'all.
Before you close out,
Thank you, D.
real